Love doesn't end with dying or leaving the last breath. For someone you have loved so dearly, love doesn't end with death. Good morning, my name is Kathy, and I'm your celebrant today for the sad farewell of a man who was loved by you all, Tom Webb. Today is a sad day, but it is also a day filled with wonderful memories and a day that you can celebrate the life that Tom led and also celebrate that you're all part of Tom's life. On behalf of myself, the staff of Stephen Baggs, and especially Tom's family, I would like to welcome you here today and to thank those that travelled. I know some arrived from Melbourne this morning. I'd also like to welcome those that can't be here in person but are joining us via the live stream and sending their love. Today you'll hear about Tom's life through his eulogy that his family has written. You'll also get to share some of your own memories, so if you think that you might be able to get up and have a chat up here, the family would really appreciate it. And you'll also get to see a series of photos that has lovingly been chosen for today, which will show such more about Tom and his personality than any words can. Following on from today's ceremony, Tom will be privately cremated. However, the family would like to extend an invitation for you to join them back at the Bairnsdale Bowls Club, where you can celebrate his life, reminisce, and continue to share your memories over some refreshments. Tom had battled for quite a while with health issues, but he died unexpectedly in Rottima Ward at the Bairnsdale Hospital from an aggressive cancer, which was only discovered the week before. He passed away on the 27th of February with his family by his side. Diane and the girls would like to extend their thanks for the wonderful care given to Tom and the family during his last days there. Tom's a much-loved husband and best friend of Diane, loving father of Susan, Jennifer and Carolyn, an admired father-in-law of David and James, an adored pa of Erin, Ryan, Nathan, Alex, Charlotte and Olivia, and great-grandpa of Paige. He was the last relative left from his family, with his parents and all of his siblings passing on before him. There might be a great family reunion going on somewhere. I'd now like to ask Carolyn to please come up and tell us about her dad's life.
You got water?
That's no water. We've got some water.
Maybe. I'm going to try my very best to do this for Dad. Good morning as we stand here today with the heaviest of hearts to honour our dad, Thomas William Webb. Tom was born on the 17th of December in Melbourne and was the youngest of 4 children to Charles and Rhoda, living in Gordman Street in Brunswick. Dad spoke very proudly of his family, and he was especially honoured by the fact that his father Charles had served in the First and Second World Wars. Dad's early years were hard. Both of his parents passed away at approximately he was 10 years old, and he remembers that he was going to be an award of the state until his older sister Betty took him in and lived with their family. Dad took up a fitting and turning apprenticeship at John Welsh's in Mill Street, Brunswick at the age of 15, and was a loyal employee for 38 years, performing leadership roles such as an apprentice supervisor and shop steward. He was one of their top tool makers. He had the precision to cut gears to a hundred or thousandth of a mil, he used to tell us. He worked on some very large projects throughout his career, a few being the Snowy Hydro scheme and Rio Tinto mine in Indonesia. Tom met Diane at Dramana Foreshore in the Christmas of 1964 at the age of 19. The story goes that Tom was eyeing her off and he went up to her and he said, "Who's that fella with you?" And Mum said, "Who's that fella with you? Is that your boyfriend?" And Mum said, "No, that's my twin brother, Paulie." And immediately he asked her out on a date. Their first date was at the Dramana Drive-In, and at the first date, Tom told her he was going to marry her, build her a house, and he did, and it was true love. They married 18 months later on the 15th of October 1966 at the St Andrew's Church in Box Hill, and had a wonderful, loving and devoted marriage for 55 years. They had their honeymoon in Tasmania and bought a property and built a house in Charlotte Road, Boronia, where they lived for 32 years. Their family started in 1968 with the birth of Susan, followed by Jennifer in 1971, and then Carolyn, myself, in 1973, completing the Webb family. Dad was a very proud man, and he adored his girls and his wife dearly. In 1980, Diane's mum Grace came to live with us, and he was surrounded by women. Even the cat and dog were female. But he loved us unconditionally, and we adored him. But don't go thinking just because he was outnumbered by females, he didn't keep us in check. Dad had a unique whistle. Now, what I mean by that is when he would use the whistle, he would be either calling us to come together, to tell us that he needed something or needed help, or to come inside from playing out in the street, or he would use it if we were lost in a crowd. If someone I can't even replicate what the whistle's like, but it's pretty unique. But we come a running as soon as he did it. Tom was a wonderful handyman and could put his hand to anything. And if any family member or friend was planning a DIY project, he would think about it and he would offer to make it. He was very generous with his time and always willing to please. Dad had a really strong work ethic and would always work to provide for the family, working overtime and weekends, and we always remember how he would leave work early in the dark and come home late in the dark. And when he got home, we would always gather around the table to hear about his day. So he was a bit of a rock star in our house. We also remember when it was payday. He would come home with his yellow envelope. He'd take a little bit out for him, but he'd give the rest to Mum. When Tom would come home from work, sometimes on a Thursday night he'd bring home a pizza, which we thought was a real treat, and it was a bit of a surprise. That's quite a good memory for us. And it's always an Aussie pizza. He still liked them. He would also, on occasions, bring home unusual items from work, like pillows, stockings and undies, just as an example. And when asked where did they come from, he'd always have a cheeky smile and he'd say they came off the back of a truck. We never quite knew what that meant until later on in our years. We also remember Mum taking us to pick Dad up from work Christmas parties. He was always the jolliest, enjoying a yarn, a joke, or participating in a game of two-up. When we would arrive, we could hear his loud, infectious laugh even before we got through the factory doors. When he saw us, he would always take us around to each person and very proudly introduce his family. Then he would have one more for the road, and quite often he was the last to leave, with Diane pulling him out of the party. Words cannot express or describe his kindness to us and to everyone he met. However, we can tell you just a little bit about what happened if you did something wrong. Well, all he needed to do was give us the look. The look would say it all and could go on for days, and he would just say nothing, but that look was all us girls needed to know exactly what that meant. Only once do I remember him not completely using the look. He was chasing Jennifer. He was trying to give her a smack on the ass, and she ran so quickly and jumped on the top bunk he couldn't reach her. He went back to the look. Dad spent many weekends tinkering in the shed. I mean, that was his second home, really. Heading out to the garage. He loved going to the trash and treasure market in Wanturna. He enjoyed caring for his orchid collection, or taking his daughters to the football to see his beloved team, Richmond, come on Tigers. His other passions were duck shooting, gold prospecting, just generally making things, gardening, drawing, and spending time with family, just to name a few. He also enjoyed heading up to Heathcote, helping his relative and mate Donnie and Maureen with their property, and helping Susan and her family with their bush block in Sarsfield. From long hours of hard work and heavy smoking, Dad's life changed dramatically at around 49. It was my 21st birthday in 1994, and Dad was sitting in his bedroom on the floor waiting for Jennifer to come home because she was a nurse. Jennifer took one look at him and strongly suggested we take him to hospital. So here we were, me driving and Jennifer caring for him in the back. It was a stressful ride, as you can imagine. We got him there safely and later found out that he was having a heart attack, which required him to have a quadruple bypass in the preceding months. This event changed his life and their plans, putting him into forced retirement due to complications from the bypass surgery. Dad struggled with the change to his health and lifestyle. Dad finally got some men in his life, with his daughters having pigeon pairs. He absolutely adored all his grandchildren and his one great-grandchild, Erin, Ryan, Nathan, Alex, Charlotte, Olivia and Paige. And he would have done anything for us all. In March 1998, Mum and Dad sold their first home and moved to Sarsfield, living on the property with their oldest daughter Susan and her family. This is where Dad embraced his passion of being on the land and hobbies and becoming a committee member of the Bairnsdale Field and Game, performing the maintenance on the grounds. He was also invited to join the Iron Circle, helping with fox control in the area, which he got a lot of fulfilment and enjoyment from. Fishing was a huge part of Dad's daily life in Sarsfield, where he would wet a line at any opportunity and take anyone else along for the ride. He created a favourite fishing spot that is on the Tambo, but we're not going to give that secret away. All these local and community connections gave him much joy, and he created long-lasting and deep friendships. As he got older, he had various health challenges, but was always strong, resilient and positive, and gave us several scares and long stints in hospital. Dad slowed down as a result of his health and changed some activities, but found a purpose and interest when he joined the Bruvens men's shed. When he joined the shed, he was described at that time as the baby of the group and gained the reputation as the storyteller and joker. Dad enjoyed family coming to visit, and he was always there to ensure we were comfortable. He was a wonderful host. As soon as you told him you were coming, he would get the preparations in order, whether it was some beer or wine in the fridge or meat for the barbecue. Our most memorable time was when you wake up in the morning and he would say, "How did you sleep?" And he'd be ready to get you a cuppa and some breakfast. We'll always cherish that memory. One of the highlights of the later years of Tom's life was seeing Richmond win 3 grand finals. Each time Mum would be nervous that his heart would give out, as he would get so worked up and excited about the game. The last few years, as some of you may know, have been difficult after the 2020 Black Summer bushfires, losing everything. And as you can imagine, this was heartbreaking for all, and especially Tom, who just wanted to fix everything, but he couldn't. Mum and Dad rebuilt with their older daughter Susan, and he enjoyed watching the tradesmen at work and finally got to move in on the 23rd of December, where we all came together and had a Webb family Christmas. On Saturday the 19th of February, Tom was admitted to Bairnsdale Hospital with increasing pain and leg weakness for investigation. And on that evening it was found he had extensive cancer throughout his body, which shocked us all and was unexpected. Over the week, we never left his side, chatting, singing, caring for him as he would do unconditionally for us. You were one of a kind and the most amazing man in our life. You were a much-loved husband, dad, father-in-law, pa, friend, mate and bloke. You gave us the best hugs, and we'll never forget the loudest sneezes and yawns. Thank you, Dad. You were perfect, and we'll miss you every day. Thank you very much.
Knew you could do it, Carolyn. I'll make Dad proud. I'm just going to read some words that have been written by Tom's daughters. These ones are from Susan. My dad has always said he was a pirate in his previous life. He justified this statement by his love of the ocean, always looking for treasure, searching for gold, and drinking Captain Morgan rum. Another one of his sayings was, "You only need to get to 70, which is 70 years old, to have had a good innings." When Dad turned 70, we celebrated the milestone with his very own pirate party. All dressed up, we cruised on the lake singing songs and telling tales. It was the only party that Dad ever had, and it was just for him, and he loved it. I wanted Dad to write down all the stories of the times when he was injured or ill. There were just so many, like the time he was shot, when duck shooting and still had pellets in his arm, or when the sledgehammer fell from a crane and peeled down his face. He'd been run over by a truck, had a crank handle to the face. They could never stop our Dad. Heart attacks, ulcers, paralysed lung, cancer were all faced head on, and somehow he would always bounce back. He would always say, "Gee, you must be pretty bloody sick to die." And then we would laugh. He was still smiling and grateful to everyone until the end. Dad never asked for much, just that we loved each other and continued to look after Mum. We promised to look after Mum as well as you did, but don't expect to see her anytime soon. And these are from Jennifer. Dad was perfect to us and loved us unconditionally. It was never hard to find him a birthday or Father's Day card, as all the words would fit him perfectly. I used to wonder where he learned to love as he had. He had a difficult upbringing. I guess it was just in him, and when he met Mum and had their family, he refined the skill. He embraced our choice of husbands and adored our children. My skills as a nurse never went astray with Dad, around always having to look up a new drug or condition. We will all miss him every day, his bad jokes, unusual songs and sounds, loving gaze and cheeky laugh. And these are from Caroline. Loving, generous, funny, hardworking, storyteller, supportive, a true gentleman are just a few words to describe my Dad. Dad would do anything for anyone, and he did. Dad, you were the best dad and pa ever, and we have all lost a great man. You were such a unique human, and I have 1,000,001 things to thank you for. Dad, I'm very grateful and privileged for you teaching me that nothing comes easy, and I have to work really, really hard for the things I want. I love your hugs, kisses, and the affectionate and welcome greetings every time I saw you, always looking into my eyes with love and care. I cherished our times just sitting having a cuppa, you watching me cook, and seeing your face and hearing how much you enjoyed it. You enjoyed the meal, saying things like a big This is excellent, Carolyn. That always melted my heart. But I know that even if you didn't like the food, you would have been complimentary anyway, because that was just who you are. Selfless, kind, and caring. Your love, your patience, your understanding, your wisdom, and your amazing character will live on with me forever. I'm glad we got to say goodbye. You'll always live in my heart. Love always, Bub. Carolyn. I'm now going to ask if there's anyone else who would like to come up. I'm sure there's a couple of stories that people would like to share. Come on.
This is just off the cuff. I haven't written anything down at all, and my wife said to me, "Whatever you don't waffle on." So I'll try and keep it pretty quick, but we heard the words before from the family about kindness, about he was selfless, and that's who he was. Great values for anybody. But he was a storyteller too. I remember the time I went fishing, we went down the river, and usually I only took one rod, I took a couple this time, and the fish were going off, and he was running to that one, and then running to that one, and I said, "Geez, Tommy, you're busy," and he says, "I'm busy as a one-legged man in an ass-kicking competition." He said, but that's what he was like, all those little jokes and little stories, and he was always happy. And there was times we weren't together, and he could have said anything he wanted to, and he never ever said anything bad about anybody. So it is so true about the kindness. And he'd do anything for you. If you ask him for anything, he would do it for you. The other thing I remember is the last funeral I went to with him, he said to me, "Oh, I only need a phone box for my funeral when that happens." Well, I don't think so, Tom. And that's it.
Is there anybody else who'd like to come up? There'll be plenty of time back at the Bowls Club. I'm sure there's going to be many laughs had down there. Now, it's been proven that photos and pictures are remembered better than words, which is why photos play such an important part in our lives. Nowadays, it's rarely seen with anyone without a camera of some sort, usually the mobile phone that's used to capture all sorts of memories. Sadly, a lot of the photos of the Webb family were destroyed in the bushfires. Tom's family put a call out to other relatives and friends, and we're excited to receive an abundance of photos for them to remember Tom by. They've painstakingly gone through these photos and others and have chosen a selection, which will now show you a snapshot of Tom's life.
Sitting in the morning sun, I'll be sitting when the evening comes, watching the ships roll in, then I'll watch them roll away again. Yeah, I'm sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. I left my home in Georgia, headed for the Frisco Bay. I've had nothing to live for, and look like nothing's gonna come my way. So I'm just gonna sit on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. I'm sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. Looks like nothing's gonna change. Everything still remains the same. I can't do what 10 people tell me to do, so I guess I'll remain the same. Sitting here resting my bones, and this loneliness won't leave me alone. It's 2,000 miles I roam, just to make this dock my home. Now I'm just gonna sit at the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. I left my home in Georgia, headed for the Frisco Bay. I've had nothing to live for, and look like nothing's gonna come my way. So I'm just gonna sit on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. I'm sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. Look like nothing's gonna change. Everything still remains the same. I can't do what 10 people tell me to do, so I guess I'll remain the same. Sitting here resting my bones, and this loneliness won't leave me alone. It's 2,000 miles I roam, just to make this dock my home. Now I'm just gonna sit at the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. When your body's had enough of me and I'm laying flat out on the floor. When you think I've loved you all I can, I'm gonna love you a little bit more. Come on over here and lay by my side. into my eyes and give me that smile, the one that always turns me on. And let me take your hand down, 'cause we're staying up to greet the sun. And when your body's had enough of me and I'm laid flat out on the floor, when you think I love you all I can, I'm gonna love you a little bit more. Got to say a few things that have been on my mind, and you know where my mind has been. I guess I learned my lessons, and now's the time to begin. So if you're feeling alright and you're ready for me, I know that I'm ready for you. We better get it on now, 'cause we got a whole life to live.
Very, very much. And a Merry Christmas and thanks for the happy birthday greeting.
I'm gonna love you a little bit more. And when your body's
Well, family certainly play a big part. And that smile, my goodness. Contagious, yeah. Dr. Hook had a special meaning? Yeah, and there's a cassette I see up there as well. Today you've been remembering with love a man who was special to each of you in his own way. Whether he was a husband, father, pa, relative or friend, you will each have your own memories that you can share of Tom. These are the memories that you have just for you. And you can visit those memories whenever you want, because you can keep them totally safely in your hearts. Remember Tom for the kind, caring and gentle soul that he was. A man who rarely complained and was always grateful for everything that was done, no matter how big or small. I was told that Tom would even say thank you to someone, even if they'd done a crappy job. His family always came first, and his children's friends also loved Tom and his happy personality. He was nearly always happy, but as you said, if the girls did something wrong, he did give them the dad look, and they knew they were in trouble. And I saw there was one photo there where he was having a bit of a strange look.
He was thinking about watches. Or we would have said, we would have given him some curry about it, and he would have gone, piss off.
He loved to tell jokes, as you've heard, and he was known to recite poetry. Susan told me that he would recite The Man from Snowy River over and over, and he was very proud that he could say the alphabet backwards. He was quite a talented man with his hands, and he loved to tinker in the shed making things. If he saw something at the market that he liked, he would go home and make it himself. An example of that is a stand that would hold locks in place so that they could be split easier, and I think a few people have got those stands. For them? Yeah. He was a man who was always willing to lend a hand, loved to socialise and have a chat. Searching for gold was another of Tom's pleasures, although he never did find that big magical nugget. He enjoyed searching for it with his gold detector, and he was panning in the rivers as well. He enjoyed fishing, would often take Ryan and Nathan fishing with him. He wasn't too bad catching fish, which was a good thing, as he enjoyed eating fish and chips. In fact, Tom enjoyed food, anything tasty, and he had a particular fondness for blue cheese. The next time you sit down with a beer or a rum, give Tom a cheer, as I'm sure he would love to be having a drink with you. Remember his loud laugh, big smile, and even bigger sneezes. But most of all, remember Tom with love. I'm going to close with a poem that's on your booklet. It's titled Remember Me. Don't remember me with sadness. Don't remember me with tears. Remember all the laughter we've shared throughout the years. Now I am contented that my life, it was worthwhile, knowing that I passed along the way, I made somebody smile. When you were walking down the street and you've got me on your mind, I'm walking in your footsteps, only half a step behind. So please don't be unhappy just because I'm out of sight. Remember that I'm with you each morning, noon and night. Thank you.
You're right to follow if you'd like.
Many kisses at the end. I held it together to the
We all know what a hard job that is, right? He was very helpful with putting chairs out. He said with no excuses about
I